The Lord be with you. A reading from the Holy Gospel according to Luke. The apostles said to the Lord, "Increase our faith." The Lord replied, "If you have faith the size of mustard seed, you would say to this mulberry tree, 'Be uprooted and planted in the sea,' and it would obey you. Who among you would say to your servant, who has just come in from plowing or tending sheep in the field, 'Come here immediately and take your place at table'? Would he not rather say to him, 'Prepare something for me to eat, put on your apron and wait on me while I eat and drink. You may eat and drink when I am finished'? Is he grateful to that servant because he did what was commanded? So should it be with you. When you have done all you have been commanded, say, 'We are unprofitable servants. We have done what we were obliged to do.'" The Gospel of the Lord.
Praise to you, Lord Jesus Christ.
So as I was looking at the pews on the way in today, I kind of noticed there's a lot of empty spaces that aren't always that empty on a Sunday morning. Just seeing that actually meant that the homily I intended is exactly the homily I should give. Unfortunately, the people who most need to hear it are in those spots that are empty right now, or they normally would be. We are unprofitable servants. We have done what we were obliged to do. We're unprofitable servants. We've done what we were obliged to do. It's very easy to get into a mindset of, what's the minimum? What's the minimum I have to do? And anytime I think of that, I always think of the analogy of a husband coming to his wife and saying, "What's the least I have to do to make you feel loved?" Gentlemen, if you ask your bride that and she gives you an answer, if that's all you do, she will not feel loved. It doesn't matter what the minimum is. If you just strive for the minimum, you can't show love like that. You just can't. You can't express love by aiming for the bottom. Now, there may be times that you say, the best I can do is very little. But if it's still the best you can do, it is something. And that's an important part of our faith, is to really realize it's all about loving God. Our faith is loving God. But do we just try to do the minimum? You know, even priests sometimes can fall into that. Even priests sometimes can say, "All right, what's the minimum I have to do that Amy's not going to yell at me?" Love you, Amy. What's the least I have to do that I'm not going to hear too many complaints at the parish council? What's the least I have to do? Like, this happens to all of us. People do it at work. What's the least I have to do to not get fired? Well, if you're aiming to do the least to not get fired, you're probably not going to get a promotion. And yet, many times, we're looking for that promotion. The apostles, it's kind of interesting that this passage begins with the apostles saying to Jesus, "Increase our faith." And Jesus is ending off with, "We've done what we were obliged to do." If you want your faith to grow, don't do the minimum. If you really want your faith to go deeper, you have to ask, all right, what more can I do? What more can I do? What more can I do? And sometimes it's not even a matter of more. Sometimes it's a matter of better. What can I do better at? It's like, okay, you love your spouse. Can you love her better? You love your children. Can you love them better? Children, you love your parents. You definitely can love them better. Our whole life, we should always be looking for how do we love better? How do we love more? For one person, it's like, okay, I've been praying for years that the poor would get help. Suddenly, I've got more time on my hands. Do I use that time to serve the poor? I've been praying that kids would take their faith more seriously in high school. Do I ever actually try to see how I can help out the high school program? Do I see if there's ways that, even if simple things, cooking meals for one of the retreats, those simple things add up. Simple little things of everybody doing a little make a lot of things happen. This is a great weekend to talk about that. We just had the bazaar happen. The bazaar was a huge amount of people, each doing a little. Some people doing a lot, but the real thing that makes it happen is all the little things that are done. The person who helps set out a table, the person who helps to clean things up afterwards, the person who, all I was able to do was sweep up afterwards. That's something. That's worthwhile if you're doing what you can. I didn't run a booth or anything. Okay, but there was somebody else to run a booth. Each one of us has things we can do. And when we focus on that, it's amazing the things that we can actually accomplish. When everybody does what they can. Not just what they have to. Sometimes people say, well, what do I have to do for the bazaar? In all honesty, each person individually doesn't have to do anything. And the bazaar will happen. But if everybody does nothing, it doesn't. So in a sense, you don't have to, but when you do, great things can happen. In our faith, may we really reflect on how we want to go deeper. How do we want to share our faith in a new way? And not look for just what is it we have to do, but what is it that I can do? What is it that I can do to take my faith deeper and the faith of my family deeper? What is it that I can do to serve God more each day?